it's just been so challenging, like being active and playing 4 games and then not, and like not feeling the best, and then like frustrated of like how hard I worked in the off season, and then like all I do is rehab and like continue to do this process.
Here's the cold truth. Nobody wants to say loud enough. The WNBA's golden goose, yes, the star players like Caitlin Clark who bring the fans, the ratings, and the hype, are getting hurt left and right. And what's the league doing? Pretty much shrugging and pretending it's all fine. Clark's sophomore season turned into a medical roller coaster with multiple injuries, left quad strain, left groin, and right groin setbacks. Yet, the league kept tossing her back on the court. No soft landing. No real plan. This is a league that markets itself around star power, but then fails to protect those stars when they're most vulnerable. The fact that Clark missed 9 straight games with no return timeline says it all. Injured? Tough luck. The Fever and the WNBA barely blinked as their biggest asset limped through the season. The league's silence and inaction on protecting its marquee players exposes a brutal reality. It's about the show and ratings, not the health and longevity of players. Players get sacrificed like disposable assets, and fans get served injury updates instead of highlights. While Clark openly shared her emotional and physical struggles, revealing how brutal the WNBA's demands really are, the league's only response was to keep the schedule rolling, the cameras flashing, and the sponsors happy. Let's talk numbers, or rather, the scary drop in numbers when the WNBA's shiny star isn't on the court. The league loves to hype up Caitlin Clark as its ticket seller, its hype machine, its golden goose. But here's the kicker. When she's sidelined, the ratings tank hard. And that tanking exposes a huge problem. The WNBA's fame is shockingly fragile and way too dependent on just one player. We're talking viewership plummeting from around 2.5 million for big games with Clark down to barely 1.5 million when she's out. And that's not just numbers. That's the league's lifeline flickering. If the WNBA can't keep fans glued without one star, what happens when she finally takes a breather or moves on? This reliance screams league-wide marketing failure. Instead of building a stable fan base around team stories, rivalries, or multiple stars, the WNBA's watching its fate ride on the health of one player. And when she's out, sponsors start sweating, ticket sales dip, and suddenly the growth narrative feels like a house of cards. The league's answer? Keep pumping games, push the merch, and hope no more stars get hurt. But ignoring this glaring flaw will only dig a deeper hole. Because fans want basketball, not just one player's highlights on loop. If you thought the WNBA was all smooth calls and fair play, welcome to the officiating circus, where consistency is a myth and the refs sometimes look more lost than the players. Caitlin Clark's sideline joke about being a better ref wasn't just a throwaway quip. It was a spotlight on a league-wide problem that's been bubbling under the surface for years. The WNBA's officials have become the punchline of frustrated players and fans alike. Coaches and players have publicly griped about wildly inconsistent calls, some getting fined for speaking out, while game-deciding fouls vanish into thin air. And guess what? The league doesn't fix it. They'd rather slap a fine on the messenger than clean up the act. Clark's basketball IQ and film study make her critique serious business. She's not whining about the whistle. She's calling out real problems, missed calls, inconsistent foul calls, and an officiating crew that's either overmatched or undertrained for the speed and physicality of the league. The WNBA's refusal to address these officiating headaches head-on not only frustrates players, but puts their safety at risk. How do you protect stars when the refs can't even control the cheap shots? Clark's "I'd make a better ref" comment is a challenge to the league, one that can't be ignored. Physical injuries aren't the only thing the WNBA's stars are battling. It's the mental battlefield created by a league that treats their pain like a checkbox on a report. The stop-and-go nightmare of injury recovery? It's not just about healing bones and muscles. It's about surviving the emotional roller coaster of uncertainty, doubt, and pressure to come back yesterday. Clark's story lays it bare. No real timelines, no clear answers. Just hope your body holds, and deal with it. Imagine being forced to constantly guess how you'll feel tomorrow after pushing through pain today. That's the toxic culture the league fosters. It's like the WNBA's medical and support system is a patchwork bandage, leaving players to patch themselves up emotionally and physically. And don't think the pressure's just internal. Fans, sponsors, and even the league expect stars to show up, perform, and carry the whole damn marketing machine on their backs, even when their bodies are screaming, slow down. Ask any player who's been labeled soft or fragile for speaking up about injuries or mental strain. The WNBA culture trains stars to suffer in silence or risk getting branded as weak. This relentless grind is breaking bodies and spirits alike. The league's unwillingness to truly protect or prioritize player well-being is a ticking time bomb. One that's already detonated in the emotional toll players like Clark have openly revealed. When injury chaos hits, the league's so-called solutions leave teams stranded like castaways. The Fever's season was a perfect example. With star injuries piling up, the roster shrank to a barely breathing 9 players at points. Sounds manageable? Think again. The league's rules around hardship signings and roster replacements are so tight and complicated that teams can't just patch the holes quickly. Instead, they're forced to drag tired, injured players back on court or watch their playoff hopes fade, all because WNBA's help comes with strings that strangle. It's like punishing a player for being hurt. The roster rules don't flex for injury crises. They penalize teams. And that punishment isn't just a number on paper, it's real risk for player health, fatigue, and competitiveness. Teams forced to play with skeleton crews get exposed, making the games less competitive and more dangerous. This depth crisis isn't a blip, it's a systemic failure, exposing how little the league prioritizes team stability and player safety. Until the WNBA rethinks its rules and support systems, expect more seasons to unravel in the same exhausting, injury-riddled mess. So here's the bottom line. The WNBA talks a big game about growth and star power, but when their golden goose gets hurt, the league acts like it's no big deal. No real protection, spotty officiating, fragile ratings riding on one player, and a toxic culture that expects stars to suffer in silence? Nah, that ain't progress. That's a recipe for disaster. If the WNBA wants to keep growing, it's gotta stop pretending everything's fine and start fixing the broken parts. From better player safety and consistent refs to smarter roster rules that don't punish injuries. Until then, expect more broken bodies and broken spirits, with fans left wondering if the game is more about drama than basketball. So the next time the WNBA's golden goose limps off the court, remember, it's not just her injury, it's the whole system falling apart. Drop your hottest roast or brutal truth about the league in the comments below. I'm picking the best for the next video. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss when we call out the WNBA's biggest fails. Popcorn ready? Because this drama train is just getting started.